Hi, good afternoon. Welcome all, and thank you for joining in a small session of web stories. This has been pending from quite long, and we have been back to our webinar spree of education, webinar spree of creating new content, educating other publishers of how to create those content, what are the best practices, what are the common pitfalls, so that you can create the best content out of whatever resources you have. So we have a hard stop at 12:30. So without taking much time around introduction, let me start directly with what we have prepared for you. So, but before that, am I audible and is my screen visible, uh, guys? Can you confirm that?
Yes,
Karthik?
it's
Yeah,
good.
audible.
Cool. Thank you. Without any further ado, let's start on what web stories are, because I'm really excited to share with you so many great things which we have done in last couple of weeks, done with couple of publishers, so many good feedbacks. uh, I must say mixed feedbacks which we have received from users, what they expect and what they are expecting of web stories, what they want to see inside the web stories, and how we can meet those expectations. So to start with, web stories are quite much similar to other stories formats which we see every day, and those stories been used widely by each and every person of each and every person who owns now a smartphone, mostly the person who owns a smartphone. I have seen my WhatsApp status of my friends changes every day. People upload 10, 15 pictures there. Same goes with Instagram. There's a whole market of Instagram which works just on Instagram stories. Same with Snapchat. And this is the ladder which we have achieved. But the most common which we see daily are Instagram and WhatsApp. And people usually upload their photos over there along with text, but that gets vanishes after a certain period of time. Web stories is something which stays, which is your content, which is available to you and your users. Once it gets published, it's always there on the web. So it becomes absolutely necessary for us to follow some best practices so that we can match the expectation of the users, what they're expecting. Plus, this becomes our responsibility, that if we are creating a format, and that too format with too much of intuition and too much of features available with us, it becomes a responsibility to build a good one. So just to contribute to that, we thought of arranging this small session so that we can discuss what are the best practices. There have been a lot of noise in the market and in the publishing industry about web stories. Uh, Mostly the publishers which we work with already started working on web stories, started publishing them, and lots of them are in line with different features which needs to be created around that. So let's start on what are the best practices, what common pitfalls which we can avoid in the whole period. And in the end, we'll have a small Q&A. In between, if you have any question, please drop them inside the message, or you can raise hand and we'll take that one. Now, we already discussed about stories, how you can create it. So it's very easy. You just upload a photo, add a text to it, and bam, your slide of a story is ready. But there's a difference between a story and a great story. So what makes a great story? So we are going to discuss few steps of what make a great story. Although it's every story, every kind of content you create is unique. A story which can be about a bike launching, or a story which is about a movie launching, can be entirely different. A story which is just covering the food, a story just which is just covering the flowers. Uh, the context of the stories are very different. Each one is unique, but still there are certain best practices, certain user experience practices which we can start over here, which we can follow. A few small things which we can avoid, and very basic few principles which are Usually generic principle. It doesn't specifically allows get it's relevant to stories, but those are generic principles which we're going to discuss. And because these stories is a big combination of beautiful looking images and text, embeds lots of features available there. So we are trying to bring you some basic principles which you can follow, although you can tweak them according to your content on your own, according to what kind of unique content you are creating, but still some basic principles to start with. Now, we are going to follow some steps through which we are taking one by one what the content which we are going to upload. What is the text around on which we can play something on that, and certain hacks which can help you in in uh, making a story really available to different platforms. Now, when it comes to story, when it comes to when a person landed on a story, and this is a generic behavior I have seen and I have been discussing for this webinar from lots of people in last few days. So I asked them, and it's a generic survey of my own. I don't have any metrics to refer to. So I have been asking people that if you see a story and it's a photo and a video, what attracts you more? What keeps your eyeballs? What stops you at that story if there is a photo or a video? So I have got mixed feedbacks. If a photo if the story or the slide is absolutely stunning, then we stop over there. But we anyhow stop on a video because those are short videos. Those are hardly 5 to 10 second videos, and this is a very small chunk of data which gives me entertainment. So, I read a few articles around it, some certain blogs, which AMP India, sorry, AMP blog has provided us, and they're also pitching for be video first. Be video first. It's very simple, and I don't need to explain it. That a small chunk of video, like 5 or 10 seconds of video, if you're placing it along with certain text around it, and providing the context of the video. That, for example, on the screen which you can see, there's a video of how to make certain dumplings. So in place, if I would have placed a photo, this would have been so interactive. I my story would have been not grabbed any eyeballs. The user must have not even stopped over here because he see, okay, there's a photo of a dumpling and with some steps how to create it. Now, being a video first brings so many engagement things around. User stays on your page for quite some time. User at least stays on your page for certain amount of time for which that video is playing. There are certain things, certain basic principles on what kind of video, what should be the dimension of video which you can stick to. So before starting on that, we have certain list of checklist which we can say, which we can follow. Uh, Usually, and what is recommended is the video. If you're using a video, again recommended to use a video. And if you're using that, please make sure on one slide. So on a web story, you have different slides. On one web story, you can create 10 different slides or 15 different slides. And try to keep it as minimum. So at least 4 or 5 slides should be there, but they should again not go to 20-25 slides. 5 to 10 slides in between constitutes a good web story. And the videos which are using should be less than 15 seconds, because the whole time span of watching a web story should not get into minutes. It should not be an whole article to read. The whole point behind behind making or creating web stories is to reduce the reading time, make it more interactive, make it more less data chunks served, so that we can serve less of data to the users. And this is on demand. Okay, so if you go to next slide, then you're only able to see the next slide of the video. So keep the video interactive, keep the video short, should not exceed more than 15 seconds. And the perspective of the video is very important. So for example, in the screen, which you can see on the left hand side, we have a zoomed in video, And to that particular step, so for example, on the fourth step, I'm on the step that I have to cut this product into slices and cook for this minutes. And on the left hand side, we have a horizontal video which is having a black space on up and down. Now, there's a visible difference between what is more interactive. I don't need to explain it, but still, uh, vertical format, because the stories are all consumed inside portrait mode. Vertical videos can work, but will not give that much of engagement. And this has been proved from so many apps in last couple of months. There was huge revelation of vertical portrait videos, though it be TikTok, though it be Instagram Reels, though it so many apps have come, they have a huge audience base. Even YouTube has started their YouTube Shorts, and their recommendation is to use vertical video because all these content has been consumed on a portrait mode. So why take the pain of creating a horizontal format and that putting inside a in a portrait mode phone? So keep the video short for, let's say, 15 seconds, should not exceed more than that. But still, if it does that, try to break that video into certain chunks so that you can serve small bits of information, and not a big video at once. Some people came asked us what should be the standard dimension of that particular video. So recommended is 720 by 1280. 720 is the width and 1280 is the height. And this, the same goes for images also. So this might be the recommended one. Uh, Certain short per frames ratio, the people who play with videos around, they know that at least 24 frames per second at least should be the shooting, the resolution of the same the video which you are using. But still, there are different versions available, and the good thing that this is a web platform. So there are so many versions available, so many types of videos embeds available through which you can stream good quality video without without too much of without taking too much of pain. uh, all these embeds are already available. YouTube provides, if you add a YouTube embed inside a web story, it works seamlessly. If you provide Brightco, if you use JW Player, or even though it's a native video. So AMP video usually takes most of the pain away from delivering, loading. Earlier, there were lots of hacks we used to convert a video into HLS stream, made into M3 UAD, but all that, you don't need to worry about that. You just need to worry about that you select the right video, select the right frame which you want to display. So for example, if you're creating a web story about how to make this certain recipe, or you are publishing any article, you are publishing any uh, specific uh, 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 covering any launches or anything, break down that video in, create a small script, break down that whole video into small chunks. Please make sure you serve them inside the portrait mode. But still, if you want to experiment that, you can always have a A/B test. Try experimenting between horizontal and vertical videos. The vertical videos is always going to give better returns. So in case anybody has questions around what kind of videos, any questions around if you're going video first, what should be the dimensions, or what should be the formats and all, please feel free to drop the questions inside the inbox. Now, apart from that, subtitles play a very big role when you add videos. So until unless you are covering a step and you are covering that video slide with some kind of steps. So, for example, in previous slide we have seen that inside the video there, in the video there was a small text which was which was over the layer in the background. But still, if you don't want to have text, you just want to focus on the video, please make sure you use subtitles. And still, if you don't use subtitles, the layer of text which is above that should be very much differentiable from the video one. And captions, if those are enabled, it helps a lot. It is self-explanatory if we have captions, and that too easily available on your phone. Sometimes you don't use headphones, so if you don't have caption, user have to follow your audio to keep in touch with your story. But still, there are captions, and you don't have headphones on your phone. Still, you are following this story. And usually, this is what happens. Usually the stories which publishing industry is creating is a combination of text and videos in between. So uh, adding subtitles makes more sense because if a person is viewing it with or without headphones, she's in public or in personal space, sub captions always work. So if you are able to provide captions on the videos, please do provide, and provide some styling to the captions so that it doesn't get merged with the background video. Just give me a second. Yes, for some reason images are not loading. Okay. So yeah, next is let's come to images. So we also discussed that web story is always a combination of um, videos and images. Images, embeds, all these things. But videos and images plays a primary role in between that. So again, there's a small dilemma which has been emerged recently is how to uh, should we replace videos with gifs because these videos are so short, like we recommended that the maximum amount of time or the maximum length of recommended video should be uh, less than or equal to 15 seconds. Should I replace them by gifs? And gifs has been become so universal standard nowadays. All these big apps are using gifs, and the gifs consumption has actually emerged out of nowhere, and uh, it it delivers 90% of the usage of a video. You don't, for example, in some video we don't need the sound of the same. So for example, if I'm cooking, I'm covering a cooking story, I don't need the sound of what's going in the background. A small illustration of what is going on can help. So again, this is one of my recommendations, not recommendations actually, the one of the experiments which you can run, and you can come back to us with your results, is we can easily replace now the videos with the gifs, and that too in a story, because the attention span or the span of the user staying on one slide is in couple of seconds. If we place a video, an interesting video in between, then the span increases. But still, for the rest of the slides which are present in the story, uh, we can experiment with the images. Now, when coming to the images, please use full screen portrait images because again, everything is being consumed on the portrait mode. The recommended size is same, 720 by 1280. 720 is the width, 1280 is the height. And why this size is important? Because the AMP controller, when you provide these image dimensions to it automatically adjusts this size inside the AMP story. So earlier we used to had certain media queries, and we had to add certain things so that everything gets delivered on every kind of mobile. For iOS, we anyhow have to keep so many video queries so that content gets delivered properly inside a Safari browser. Um, don't worry, we have a different session planned for Safari, so we'll have a different discussion on that. But to avoid those media queries, it has become very simple in case of AMP web stories, that we just have to use the correct size of images. If you are using good portrait images of 720 by 1280, the AMP controller does it, works automatically. We don't need to add extra media queries for the same. And there's a reason, there's a huge reason, behind using this kind of uh, size for the images, and it's not mandatory. If you use a smaller images, that's still okay. But if you can see on the screen, there's still a differentiation between if we use different type of images. If you use a horizontal image, again, it can do your work, but it will not meet the expectations. It will not fulfill the purpose of a vertical portrait mode web story, right? And the difference is clearly visible in the screen, on the images which are on the screen. On the top, you can see how stories are interactive. leave animation for once, if I even simple place a simple portrait image, it's still looking better than if we are placing a text and a horizontal image in the bottom. And so this is one of the challenges which usually comes to us. We have so many publishers who have thousands and thousands of articles inside their media gallery section, and they wanted to convert all those galleries and medias into web stories because again the traction is coming quite strongly over there. But the big challenge which comes to us also is how to convert those horizontal images and to display them inside vertical format. So we have tried the experiment. We tried changing or displaying those horizontal images inside the story, but didn't get much traction over it. The moment we shifted to vertical stories, and the traction is unbelievable. Uh, you know, the time spent on the images, the time spent on stories, the web pages grows more than 9 to 10x. With horizontal one, every slide, user have to zoom in to see the photo, what is written inside it. And in certain AMP stories, you have to block the zoom, otherwise the whole layout will collapse. So lots of challenges over there when it comes to horizontal and vertical ones. But this is for sure, and you'll find this recommendation at every place you want to read about web stories is use portrait images, portrait videos, because everything is getting consumed on a vertical or a portrait mode, I guess. Moving on is focus on the crop. It's not just about how you have selected a vertical photo, but it's always hygienic to use good kind of cropping, good kind of focus on your images. The difference is clearly visible in the two images if you're able to see on the screen. On the left hand side, one image is cropped to align the page and the content, the person which you are referring to, or the featured image which you are using inside an article, has been properly cropped so that it fits the 720 by 1280 criteria, and we have a small text in the bottom. Now on the right hand side, you can see the cropping is not done properly. Although the image, the width and height of the image is same, but the zoom in or the cropping of the photo is not done properly. So half of the information is visible. If again, if you want user to keep the focus on text, both can work. But here our goal is different. If you are creating an app story or a web story, that means our major goal, our primary goal is to portray what kind of multimedia, what kind of image and video content we have. So it becomes kind of obvious that we use the right focus on the image, or the multimedia which you are using. So cropping become a good major factor. Always provide some padding burns to images when you are using that as a featured image inside a web story, or not featured image, any image, any background image you use as a web story. And this becomes more important when it comes to vertical formats because with some animation which Hamstory automatically adds to it, and some zoom in and zoom out animation which can add to it. On portrait mode, due to different screen sizes, although AMP controller does most of the work, but still providing some padding burns is always a safe side. So, for example, some of you who have worked in print or other industry, or even in your life, if you have ever gone to a printing shop for printing a business card, they always told you to provide some padding buns, around, so that there's always a safe side if the image doesn't zoom out. Same works here. Uh, Karthik and team, I guess someone is on unmute. Can you?
ये सोसाइटी में कितना फ्लैट्स है?
Okay, cool. No worries. Manish Verma, I guess you were on mute. No worries. So let's move into our next slide. So I guess we have already covered this. Take the focus on the group crop part. Make sure what you're focusing should be visible in the center or in the top from top 30% to bottom 30%. 30% of the area. That in between area should be the focus part of your web story or a multimedia image you're using. Text and size patterns. Yeah, this is well, again interesting topic, and so many people have asked that what should be the standard text size, what should be the shadow which we give to text. Again, this is this depends upon what kind of content you're creating and kind of stories, what kind of images and videos you're using in the background. But still, to be on the safer side, at least the title or the content you're pushing onto it should be at least 24 pixels. Should be at least 24, whatever the pixels or the measuring unit you use on your site. At least 24 should be the size of the font of the text overlay which you're adding to an image or a video. If you're just using text in between and there's a very blurry or a solid image in the background, then you can shift to a smaller size. But if it is a combination of video or image in the background and you have an overlay text over it, which is the usual format of a story, it should be around 24. The measuring unit should be around 24, and it makes sense also, right? If I want user to see two things simultaneously, I want user to focus on two layers simultaneously. So for example, in this photo, in the images visible on the screen, there are two screens. On the right, on the left hand side, we can see there is a photo in the background, and the text again is in the white. The color is white, but we have added a small box shadow or a layer of shadowing in the background so that the text becomes embossed over the and it becomes easily readable to the users. On the left hand side, on the right hand side, the contrast and everything is poor. The image is also white. The text is also white. So it's always good to have a bigger text along with some solid background or a solid back layer in between, so that the readability increases. If readability are increasing, the user experience will increase, and hence the time spent of the user will increase over it. Now, this topic is actually pretty interesting. We had a long discussion with the publisher yesterday on this. Is if you're serving a text to the user, don't serve the whole meal at once. Okay, if you are to take a general example of it, if you're eating inside a buffet, you didn't just don't take everything at once and start. No, I'll keep everything in once, and now I'm good. Now this let's serve this to everyone. When it comes to story, it's a small chunk format, right? You take a chunk, display to the user, then on demand serve another chunk, then other chunk, then other chunk, because there are slides available. The whole experience of the story is like that you have to serve data inside chunks. Pushing so much data or bigger data, whether it's a text or so many videos at once or so many images at once, doesn't work very well in the web stories format. So at least there are some certain standards set to it. Again, can be unique and can be a reference to what kind of story you are creating. But still, text should come in small chunks and should not be more than 200 characters on one page at one time. And 200 characters is the limit. Try to wind up in as less words as possible and focus on the multimedia content, because that is story is most about. But still, if you want to have if you're writing an article and text becomes absolutely necessary, on one slide, try keeping less than 200 characters on one page, and try breaking it up in between the text and style. So for example, on the left hand side, I have a big title, and again, the paragraphs can also be broken into different font sizes and font weights. On the left hand side, the display is very much easy to me, because the words are less and there's a discrimination in between the top line headline and the excerpt. So, and on the right hand side, there's a huge chunk of paragraph which has been there, not easily readable to the users. um, if I would have been one of the person who has to review the Sam story, I would easily just swipe off to the next one. Even though the information is quite much crucial, I will not give that much of attention to it because a huge text on a moving story. I have to hold down that button to to stop stories to move to the next slide. I have to zoom it out, zoom it in if if the text is pretty small. So it becomes a pain in the eyes for the users. So better it is that we can add more chunks, serve the data inside the chunk, keep the characters which are available or the word limit to not more than 200 words or characters or less. Try to keep it on the lesser side. Uh, uh, you know, more focus on the images, but still if you have to absolutely put text, and that can be a short case, try to keep it less than 200 characters. 100 characters, create more chunks. That would be again, that would be comparatively easy for the users to browse through more slides than less slides with more character or more text inside it. And what usually AMP blogs or the bloggers who are using stories from quite longer time, they recommend that the text should not take 10% of the total story pages. So if you're creating a page, and uh, you have to absolutely include the text. You can add certain slides in between where you can add these chunks of text and all, but the size should not exceed 10 or 12% of the whole format if you're pushing it. So majority part of the story should be the multimedia content you want to portray to the users. 10% of that part can be a text which comprises of all the information you want to push into. Again, coming back to the point, break that text into smaller chunks and nipples. Yes, so let's get to animations, one of the most eye-catching part of it. Uh, this can be a case that you always doesn't have good quality images, or you always doesn't have too much of multimedia data available to you, because again, there's an effort that goes behind creating all these kind of things. But yes, animations are easy. Animation can help make your static content look better. You make your static content good vibe, get that eye catchy factor in between. So animations again is a big part of web stories. In each and every web story I see, there's always some animation, whether it's the text is flying in from here and there. So some animations are quite cheesy. So that's what we are going to discuss about. What can be subtle animations? What should be the right ways of using it animation? Right ways of using those CSS WebKit functionality, so that we can provide a subtle thing to the user that doesn't give everything bam on the user's face. So certain animations which can be used very easily and very popular from quite few days. The people who are here from the CSS background, they must be easily able to. That flying, rotation, or fading effects are very popular and has been used inside web from quite long. But um, being in the publishing industry, using too many animations sometimes become very risky. People want to come to the pages and they want to read the news or whatever content we are delivering to them in peace. They don't want too many animation flying, text and images flying here from here and there. But the good thing is that on web stories we can do the experiment, and actually will be loved by your users, because this is what they're expecting. When see, the whole web story format is an interactive format. um, all the experiments, animation experiments, video experiments, image experiments, which you can do over here, will always bring you good results. And lots of inspiration which we can take from the parallel story making platforms, Instagrams, and so many apps who are doing that in YouTube Shorts and all. They are video first app. They have the capability of doing so much with the video, but here we have the capability of adding much value to video or images which are using inside it. So the animation step can be very simple. If you can check on the images side, I have to display certain cards. I can display cards at once like this, or I can display cards with some kind of animation. again will bring some jazz factor to the story. Now, timing also becomes important with the animation. It's not just you have added certain CSS lines to it and the text starts, delivering inside a good display or animated manner. The timings become more important when it comes to animation. The transition time which we have to give to whatever property we are adding animations to. So in the screen, if you can see on the screen, there are two kind of images which are there, which are using mostly same animation. So this is the Kanban effect which are using, that we displace or have a moving factor to a background image. But if we put too much of quick animation, although it can be again unique on different test cases, but against adding subtle animations in the background, if we have a text above, always plays good. So uh, the in the example which is behind, you can obviously see on the right hand side one, it is giving a jerk to the user that okay, something is coming very frequently and I'm not able to focus either on the image and not on the text. On the right hand side, the Kanban animation is with slow timings, is loading subtly in the background, and I'm able to focus I'm able to focus on both of the things. I'm able to focus on the background image as well, and I'm easily able to read the text which is displaying on the foreground. Now, there can be certain standards to it which we can apply. The simple animation should take less than 500 milliseconds. So should not be more than that. Otherwise, it becomes static, and a user will skip to the next slide. But also not be fast like 10 or 100 milliseconds. So keep that in between. Don't gives too many animations at once. We'll discuss it in next slide. The too many animations at once again bring that eyeball rolling factor. But animation short helps in bringing or adding some jazz to the story. Uh, 500 milliseconds, just one benchmark. It should not exceed more than that. If it exceeds, then the whole effort which you have put into by adding animation doesn't add value, because a user is not going to stay on one slide for 500 milliseconds if it's just an image in the background. If it's a video, then he can stay more than that. But for the 500 milliseconds time, uh, is the ideal time to on one slide to push an animation, and if there's a text available to take the focus on both animations and text. And like this, there are lots of creative animations available which works seamlessly on background images, not just Canvas, but a lot of it's available and you can experiment with that as well. Timing also becomes is again one of the factor which we have discussed in last slide, that bringing so many elements together at once, the timings become one of the factor. There's no such criteria for how much the timing or tuning of the animations in between should be, but yes, they should be complementary to each other. Smooth effects, like in the last slide we discussed, Ken Burns effects was there. The smooth effect always deliver much more better results. And because a story, if you're adding an image and text, some subtext to one vertical or portrait screen, uh, bringing too many elements at once becomes a challenge, and you have to focus on the timing first. That what are the elements which you want to display at first? What is the information which is required in the second glance? So in the image available on the left hand side, everything is coming from two sides. There is the whole chunk of date image plus text is coming at once, but on the right hand side you can see that different things are coming at different timings, and according to that timing, I am setting up the users prioritization. So okay, I am telling users, okay, just first look on the image, and then we'll give you the text, and then we'll give the subtext. So you are just providing your script to the users, and just with the help of animation timings. Again, this can be more trimmed down to, or there can be more factors which you can add it to it. But the motto or the takeaway is using subtle animations and provide whatever script you have written. So uh, I can understand when you start creating a story, you have to write down a script that okay, I have to. This is my first video. This is my second image, third image. This is the text in between. So it's like a short movie script which you create in the back of your mind while creating a story. So why not provide your kind of focus? Why not provide your what you want to portray to the users? And animations help, and animation timings help a lot in that way. Next is the pairing part. If you are using multiple elements and you want to provide multiple animations to multiple elements which are using on the phone, on your portrait mode, the pairing of the animations becomes absolutely necessary, and it's visible on the example in the image behind. There are two elements which are present, three elements which are present on the page. My bad. One is the background image, one the title, and one is the subtext. Now let's review the right hand side image once. The background image is having a canvas effect. It's zooming out in the background. The text is coming in a rotatory way. The below text is then coming in a rotatory way. Um, the pairing of the animation is not right. On the right hand side, I again the script which we have to follow. That I want user to focus first on the background image, which is about the topic which I'm referring to. The first layer is the title of the story, and these again there's come the subtext. The animation pairing should be smooth. The more smoother it is, the better it is. And I'm not afraid to again admit this, that there can be a way that you can create story without animations too. There's no harm inside that. So using no animation is still better than using wrong pairing of animations. So that again goes from content to content, what kind of unique content you are creating. There cannot be some hard rules of doing this, but yes, such certain best practices which we can follow. Usually, adding too much of animation spoils the whole script of a story. So it's always better to either use a good animation or use no animation at all. So that's also okay. There's no nothing bad in using no animations. There's a huge chunk of people who like simply served stories. But yes, adding subtle animations add some value to it. Next is strategic embeds. Uh, AMP Story mostly, suppose all the embeds which are there, starting from Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, any third party embeds also you can embed it over there. And still, if there is not a dedicated tag for it, then you can always put it inside an API frame inside a web story. And no, these kind of out of the focus strategic tweets add some value to it. So, for example, there is one story I'm covering on any political matter, or any story which I'm covering from a movie launch or a book launch, and I add these embeds of author or a producer or a political leader in between my story. That automatically adds a trusting factor to the story, and provide user that okay, whatever I'm showing to you, it's not just photos and videos. There's something solid behind it. So and obviously embeds takes care of the whole screen at once. uh, for few best practices which you can use while embedding the embeds. The headline of the embed, or whatever the headline of your particular slide, can always go with the embed, because if a embed is short, so usually embeds are short. For example, if you're embedding a Twitter embed, it can have one photo or some amount of characters in below, but that character will not go further, because every platform has this character limit with them. So leaving blank space on the page and just adding embed should not be the right way of doing it. If you want, you can add a background image, or a worst case scenario, if you're using an embed, don't just use one embed at one slide. If it's a vertical embed, the height of the embed is pretty long, then it's okay. But with an embed, there's absolutely a need of a title or a background or date and graphics, and all these things can help to you. But just placing one embed independently on one slide doesn't give good information to the user. Although there can be information on previous and next slides, but again, a plain embed on one just page doesn't look that good until unless the dimension of the embed is not that good. So uh, always pair it up with some kind of title. The title again can be which you have started, or the title can be individual to whatever slides you are on. And there are certain other parameters which you can enable on it. So you may need to enable interactivity for your embed. People can, if you're Twitter embed, so I can touch it over there and I can land it on Twitter. And sometimes you have to take care of that because web stories have previous and next super layers over it. So sometimes you cannot play or pause the content which is behind those layers, because those two layers are previous and next, and those are primary actions which has to happen on a page. So you might have to enable interactivity on it. There are simple methods of doing that, and you can find them all on AMP blog. Or we can have one more session around. We can have one more practical session around where you can start creating stories from the scratch. So these are certain best practices. I hope you find them little bit useful. Uh, I hope these steps will keep in mind when you create your next web story. Just one slide I want to add on the optimization one. These stories are again web pages. Okay, so the format is different, the content is different, the way of delivering is different, but still they are web pages, right? So, and we want traffic on them, we want traction on them, we want more and more people to see what kind of stories which we have created. So the one of the major part which you can focus it, and that will take care of everything. You don't need to write big meta tags and more of the content. You don't need to worry that okay, my story doesn't have much content, I have 10 or 12% rule which everybody has assisted me. There's no text inside my story, how it will get discovered? So this can be done easily via LDJSON schema structure. This is standard one, works across all the pages. Everything you want to add, everything you want to add to it, the type of the type of text, the type of keywords, description which you want to add, please add it inside this schema and JSON. Discover other engines just will keep on crawling your story and start listing them using this data. So this is, I'm pretty sure you must be using it inside all your AMP and web pages. It can be used similarly inside the AMP story as well. Becomes one of the primary factor of using it, because you have created a good story and it should have some kind of discovery with it, and that too on the organic part, so that new users can come to you and see what you have created, what amazing content we have created. So last focus should be on this, that when your story is ready, make sure the schema, whatever tags and keywords and titles and description which you have pushed, you are not able to put inside the story, which you want to, which you can think that can bring some traction to your page, add it inside the LEDs. So in a glance, if you have to complete everything, we are also around time on that. So in a glance, tell a full and interesting story. Don't just leave it in between. The full story, if you're covering full story on video part, on the images part, uh, create a full interesting story. Uh, Maximize your impact of cover page. So cover page becomes absolutely necessary on this screen. Also in the background, you can see that cover page is what brings you. The cover page is like featured image of an article. So this goes without saying that the impact of the cover page should be the most crucial one, and it comes with what kind of image or what kind of video, or the image or the featured content you're using. uh, Make it visual with videos, and make sure that it fits in the user screen. So we have 720 by 1280 rule. Please make sure if you whatever images you're using it in the right format. Otherwise, you know uh, it will not be that impactful. You have put so much effort into it, but the user is not able to click it or see it or view it properly on their phones. There is no point of that. Again, you can say more with images, less with text, and save that text, use it inside the LD JSON schema. Use shorter videos should not exceed more than 15 seconds until unless there is absolutely need of it. But still try to serve user inside the chunks. Keep maximum limit to 10, 12, 15 seconds. If possible, break down that video into multiple parts so that the story continues. Some people in some situation require viewing without sound. So subtitles or adding a text, explanatory text becomes one of the premium user factor, because we cannot keep headphones every time, right? And we cannot play loud music inside at every place. I cannot play it. A lot of people come. So add subtitles, add some description about what you are showing, whether you are using GIFs. Experiment with GIFs, and I'm pretty sure it will be fun. Plus, easy to handle. You don't need to write two things for a video and a GIF, an image. GIF will take care of everything. Give reader something to tap through. An average length of 10 to 20 pages for most author tell a good narrative. So that's what I explained. That at least keep 10 to 20. At least keep at least 10. Tabs inside your story if you want to narrate the whole one. But smaller, the lesser one also works, but should not be less than 4 or 5, right? At least have 4 or 5 stories. If you want to display a gallery or a photo or a video, at least have 4 or 5 stories so that you can grab at least few seconds of user's time. And don't overuse animation. Use subtle animations. If you are not able to find out what should be the right combinations of animations, don't use animation at all. That's again a better factor of it going in that way. But subtle animations bring more jazz and brings more eyeballs to the content. We are very soon publishing certain case studies over how to create stories, and we'll be publishing one case study on the GitHub also, so that you can have some sample AMP stories or web stories available to you. You just different sections with different animations and what all best practices which we discussed here. So we'll be soon publishing that case study, and we'll be sharing the links pretty soon. So this couple of few information to end with. Web stories are already on Discover, and the results are better than ever. We have been trying to publish web stories from quite long, but we were stuck on two parts. That okay, the organic viewability of stories is not there, plus the advertisement is not there. So really happy to get over that barrier. Now we are getting full traction from Discover, from Google searches, from organic searches. Earlier, direct traffic was one of the sources where we are getting majority part of the traffic. But since web stories are getting started inside Discover, we are at least 10% of the traffic on websites on which we're using stories is getting on stories nowadays, and that too via all organic. We haven't placed any direct link to the stories anywhere on the home or article pages. Either it's coming organically or people are searching it and getting it inside the SERPs. So in addition to Discover, we already discussed that the search engine results are also giving you stories. If you search for a particular topic, there's a AMP carousel, which is the standard one from couple of years, comes on the top, but below comes these beautiful horizontal cards. And if I am the user and if I'm getting a choice that I have to read an article about something which I'm searching, or I have to see a story, I'll definitely go for a story. So, and that is the thing which I guess Google is also realized, that giving people more visual and interactive formats will play better. So SERP is again giving a good result on the traffic side. Now, a little bit for things what hosting your on web stories makes possible. All the web stories which you create uh, on these stories you create on different platforms. So there might be some reasons that why do I need to create a web story? I can create an Instagram story. I can create a Snapchat story and grab my audience over there. Why do I need to put so much effort into creating a web story? So those stories you don't have control over them. They get vanished after a certain period of time. You cannot republish them, or this doesn't stay forever. Amp Story stays forever with you. You can control it. You can brand it according to whatever you need. There's so many open source things available. You can brand it. You can create it just the way you want to. You don't have any platform dependencies for that. It's immersive. Easily immersive. You can create multiple formats. You can use multiple type of content formats inside it and make it according to what script you have prepared inside your mind, not dependent on any platform at all, and easily connected. So if you're publishing on a particular app, and you want to you want to brand it on another app where you are linking it to a website, that linkage becomes very limited on those kind of apps. But here it's connected, it's easily embeddable. If you've created a web story, you can embed it inside any part of your website. You can embed it any part of your app. You can provide it to users. You can provide it to advertisers so that they can embed it anywhere on any part. So one example that we are creating web stories for publishers. We are creating it from our platform, but they are easily able to embed it on their desktop part as well. So easily connected. You can. It's a web page, so can be used anywhere. So yeah, ending it with create stories. Please keep on forwarding them to us. Whenever I see a well-formed story, it really at one point start or makes web a better place and a more interesting place, I can say. So, yes. We have very big brands who are already started on the story part, and these are one of the big names which I've placed it there. But big names from all the demographics has already started working on web stories. And there are so many tools from where you can start with web stories. All these tools like Make Stories, Newsroom AI. There's the WordPress plugin, which is also there, which help you to create web stories, and lots of plugins available on the WordPress part and independent tools available on the WordPress part. So through which you can start publishing them. WordPress plugin, you can create good stories from there. Good amount of effort is required from there, but yes, you can create good stories directly from there. And still, if you are facing any problem and you see that okay, we need certain kind of a fixed model on which we can just give one kind of content, we can give you content and text, and we get an automated story created for us. You can always reach out to us. We already created these formats where you can just provide one content streaming or content feed to us, and we can help you directly with the automated apps, web stories for you. Lots of work going around, so more and more formats coming up from our side. But still, happy to see all the published web stories publishing working around. So yeah, that's it. I hope all the discussion which we had, certain best practices, certain small snippets which I've given you, uh, uh, should be useful when you create your next web story. So we have okay, we only have 2 minutes with us. Anybody have any question? Please, can unmute yourself or ask, or you can put it inside the comment box. Okay, we have certain chats coming in there. Okay, Mr. Chandy, sure, I'll share the PPT after this meeting. This will be sent to you for everyone. Uh, so one question is from Rajkumar, Mr. Rajkumar Talari. Keywords, which language keywords shall we use for regional language websites? Are is Telugu websites, or can we both use English and Telugu keywords? Yes, Rajkumar, you You can use both English and Telugu keywords. So just keep in mind, web stories are just web pages. There's to a Chrome or to a browser, they are just AMP pages. So they are just web pages. So whatever best practices you use for promoting your normal pages, the same best practices will go over there. So I explained that the content filling inside the LD-JSON schema should be your checkout to the page. Whatever you do inside the page can be independent or again can be relative, but you still feel that okay, I have missed so many things on text and I want those things to be there so that my discovery increases. So add that inside the LD-JSON part. And yes, you can publish stories from Midway Seniors. So more than welcome in that. One question we have got from Sri Divya Lakshmi. Any ideas on monetization of web stories? Yes, monetization already been started. There you can have two kind of monetization over here. You can have AMP story auto ads. So it's like auto ads. You put one script in the head part of your AMP story, web story, and the ad will come in between. So for example, in AdSense auto ads, you see a Vignette ad which comes in between the story. So when you click on one story and you are about to land on the other one, in between that full screen ad comes. So the same way if you're using AMP web story auto ads, the ads will come in between your slides automatically. So that is one way of doing it. Second is you can have a dedicated campaign run from your DFP. So if you have any in-house ads or if you want to run some impressions over there, so you can always create a AMP story ad from your DFP or ad manager account, and that ad will run at particular slide which you want to run into. So both of the things are available. The auto monetization is happening via auto ads, and if you want to run dedicated ads from you can run it by DFP. Both the support is already there. Uh, any other question, guys? Okay, thank you. Cool. So I guess we are a little above time. So my team will help you with this PPT and along with my email ID. So please uh, feel free to get in touch with us regarding any query, or if you make some amazing stories, please keep sharing with us. One last question we have got from Padmakar: can we get traffic for Hindi language? Yes, Padmakar, we can get traffic from Hindi languages. Again, it's a web page, so bringing traffic is similar to how we bring traffic to a normal page. As all I'm stories on Google Discovery. No, it's not exactly like that. And it's not all stories are English stories. It's just that Hindi publishers are not doing enough stories. So majority part is coming from English publishers. So if you're a Hindi publisher and you start doing some good work on Jan Prahar, we are starting pretty soon. So let's start publishing some stories on Hindi. And a few things which we can take care of is by using LD-JSON schema. So if you feel that Hindi is not giving you good returns on the text part, we can add certain text in English as well in the JSON in the backend of LD-JSON. So both the combination of both will surely work for us. But still, yes, if you are still want to use just Hindi, it's still okay. You'll get the traffic from the Hindi audience. It's not just sticking to the English part. But yeah, always using the mix and match combination of regional plus English always works better. Okay, one last question we're going to take and then we're going to sign off. Difference between converting existing web stories to web stories and creating web stories. There's no difference if you have good enough content available with you in your existing stories. There's no harm in converting it into the recent one. So I already explained, like, we have certain publishers who came to us. They have a huge amount of image galleries available with us, which they are using since years. But the issue with those galleries is that they use horizontal formats of the images, because that was the focus earlier, right? If I go 5, 6 years back in time, nobody used to have portrait images. I have, everybody uses big HD, 1280 by 720 big horizontal images. Uh, so that becomes the challenge. If you have good images available with you, if you have a good vertical portrait images available with you, then there's no harm in converting existing galleries to web stories. But yeah, sometimes we can have some CSS hacks. We can have some CSS hacks to convert a good horizontal images into a good vertical one. So there's center aligning which we can do, through which the horizontal format can also look good in the portrait manner. But yeah, the best case is if you use a portrait image. So nothing can be better than that. Cool. So thank you guys. We are a little bit above time, so I had hard stop here. So thank you so much for attending this session. It's been wonderful. Please keep writing to us. Please keep suggesting to us what all topics which we can pick, and we will try to bring you more and more resources and some knowledge sharing around this. Thank you.